New York City has 8 million people. Every single one of them genuinely believes they personally run the place. Not in a cute way. In a, I will fight you over a parking spot at 7 a.m. kind of way. So when the Knicks won their first championship in 53 years, their first since 1973, 8 million main characters celebrated at the exact same time. 63 people got arrested, 10 officers got injured, 5 school buses got burned. In Times Square, a teenager got shot in the foot. Bro, most cities win championships and throw a parade. New York won a championship and accidentally unlocked a side quest. This city does not know the difference between a parade and a heist getaway. No cap. Let me explain.
Okay, gang, we need to talk about the bag first, because before the fires, before the arrests, before any of the chaos, there was a literal handbag deciding the fate of a professional basketball franchise. Jordan Woods, fiance of Knicks star Karl Anthony Towns, brought a lucky orange bag to every single playoff game, starting with Game 3 against the Hawks. That bag got publicly credited online for sparking a 13-game winning streak. Think about that for a second. An entire fan base, a professional sports organization worth billions, multi-million-dollar athletes who train year-round, and the actual explanation everyone agreed on was a purse. Then the universe decided to test the theory. She couldn't bring the bag to Game 3 of the finals because of a strict no-bag policy, and the Knicks lost that exact game. Bro, the bag sat out one game, and the championship hopes fumbled instantly. No Riz without the bag, apparently. Deadass. 8 million people in the city, and the actual MVP of the entire playoff run might have legitimately been a handbag made by the player's own fiance's fashion brand. Cooked, certified unhinged behavior from an entire metropolitan area. We are not okay. And the wildest part, nobody even denied it. The bag came back for Game 5. They won. Coincidence is canceled in this city, apparently. Now, here's the part that actually broke me. Tyler Kolek, a 25-year-old backup point guard who played in 8 playoff games for the championship team, was feeling himself during the parade and decided to hop off the float to celebrate with fans. He ran along the barricade, giving high fives, living his best life. Main character energy, full Sigma confidence. Then New York happened. 2 NYPD officers stopped him, with one literally bear hugging him, mistaking him for a regular fan who had jumped the barricade. He was milliseconds away from getting tackled to the ground before the officers realized who he actually was. A man who just won an NBA championship, wearing his own team's championship gear at his own team's parade. Got bear hugged and almost tackled by the same police force that was supposed to be protecting him. Bro really had to say, "I swear I'm on the team, bro." Kolek got caught lacking by his own security detail at literally the highest point of his entire career. Big yikes from NYPD. Massive L. He survived the Eastern Conference Finals. He survived the actual NBA Finals. He did not survive his own parade. Trust nobody in this city. Not even the guys who are supposed to be protecting you at the parade, celebrating you specifically.
Here's where it gets actually unhinged. On a scientific level, this isn't just New York is crazy. There's an entire 130-year-old field of psychology dedicated to explaining exactly this. In 1895, a French psychologist named Gustave Le Bon published a book called The Crowd, arguing that when individuals join a crowd, their individual personality is literally lost, replaced entirely by a collective mind. Le Bon identified 3 forces driving this: anonymity, which dissolves personal responsibility; contagion, by which emotions and actions spread rapidly through the group; and suggestibility, which makes individuals extremely susceptible to the crowd's emotional currents. Bro, your Sigma grind set, your alpha mentality, your carefully curated personal brand, all of it, gone, deleted, overwritten by group consciousness like a corrupted save file. Then in 1952, psychologist Leon Festinger formalized this into the modern concept of deindividuation. And in 1969, Philip Zimbardo expanded the theory, identifying anonymity, sensory overload, and the complete absence of normal social constraints as the exact ingredients required, deadass. The whole city turns into one giant NPC, running on shared instinct instead of individual thought. Built different? Nah. Built the exact same, like literally everyone else around you the second that final buzzer hits. Womp womp. This is not a vibe. This is a documented, peer-reviewed, century-old psychological phenomenon that happens to explain why your cousin set a school bus on fire over a basketball game.
And here's the part nobody saw coming. Sports psychologist Christian End, who has spent years researching fan behavior with Miami University's Sports Fan Research Group, studies exactly this pattern professionally. When the Lakers won their championship in 2000, fans set off a riot, resulting in overturned vehicles, burning, looting, and $750,000 in damages. Read that again. Not a loss. Not a heartbreaking defeat. A win! Studies of championship riots have consistently found that winning is actually the more dangerous trigger than losing. You would assume losing makes people angry and destructive. It's the opposite. Winning makes people lawless. Joy with zero structure apparently hits different than rage with an actual reason behind it. Researchers also found these riots tend to radiate outward from the city center, and that the people most involved are overwhelmingly young men, the demographic most susceptible to losing their individual identity in a crowd, and most hungry to display status in front of others. Let that sink in. The happiest moment of an entire city's year is statistically more dangerous than its most devastating loss. That's not a New York problem. That's just what happens when you give a species built for small tribal groups 8 million strangers and one shared emotional trigger.
And before anyone tries to say this is some kind of modern brain rot generation problem, it's not. It's ancient. In 1910, after black boxer Jack Johnson defeated reigning heavyweight champion James Jeffries, an estimated 18 people died in riots that spread across multiple U.S. cities over a boxing match. One single fight, 18 actual human deaths. And in 532 AD, two rival chariot racing factions in Constantinople, called the Blues and the Greens, joined forces in a riot so severe it nearly overthrew Emperor Justinian himself, resulting in roughly 30,000 deaths. 30,000 people over chariot racing. Bro, people have been completely losing their minds over sports since literal ancient Rome. Before Twitter, before smartphones, before electricity. This is not a Gen Z problem. This is not a brain rot problem. This is just a fundamental human problem that happens to have significantly better camera phones now. Caught in 4K instead of caught on a fresco painting. Same exact chaos, dramatically better resolution.
And here's the twist that actually changes everything. Modern crowd researchers have actually pushed back hard on LeBon's original theory, pointing out that systematic historical research shows most crowds, even violent ones, display a surprising amount of organization and structure, rather than pure random chaos. Some contemporary researchers now argue crowd behavior isn't actually a loss of identity at all. It's a shift toward a shared collective social identity instead. Meaning, the Times Square chaos might not have been mindless or random. It might have been 8 million individual New Yorkers briefly logging out of their personal identity and logging into a shared one. Knicks fan. And that identity simply ran on different rules than their everyday one did. Not a malfunction. A switch. Bro didn't lose his mind in Times Square. Bro just switched accounts for the night. Even the mayor seemed to get this instinctively, telling the crowd at City Hall that the city usually only comes together during tragedy, and calling this one of the rare times they got to unite through pure, unfiltered joy instead. Pure, unfiltered joy that also somehow included 5 burned school buses and a teenager getting shot. New York's version of joy comes with a body count. That's just the brand. So here's where it actually lands. New York didn't just celebrate a championship, they accidentally ran a 130-year-old psychology experiment in real time.
without realizing it. The bag was lucky. The cop got humbled by his own department. The entire city briefly operated on a different identity for one single night and burned 5 buses while doing it. That's not basketball anymore, gang. That's just what happens when 8 million people briefly become the exact same person at the exact same moment. No cap. New York didn't even need a reason to be like this. They just needed an excuse. And a 53-year wait was apparently more than enough of one. BRAINROT University, we are so back, unfortunately.